Well, hello there. Welcome to my channel, Auntie Essie's Chat Cafe. This is Auntie Essie bringing you another Friday. I just want to talk a little bit about St. Patrick's Day. And, you know, what does St. Patrick's Day really mean? Why St. Patrick's Day? Why do, you know, how does St. Patrick's Day become such a big thing that is celebrated all around the world, and a lot of people, you know, it's become like a big party celebration of drinking and, you know, people, you know, that kind of celebration. Well, St. Patrick actually was not even Irish. St. Patrick was born in what would be present day, I would say, Scotland, in the UK, in the United Kingdom, so more in Britain. So you know, like off the coast of Scotland. But anyway, he ended up in Ireland at the age of 16 as an indentured slave, and then he escaped and went back home. But then he felt called to go back to Ireland and to take Christianity to the Celts, or to the people of Ireland. So those were the beginnings of St. Patrick. Today, St. Patrick's Day, and St. Patrick's Day itself, the date, March 17th, is actually the day St. Patrick died. He died on March 17th, 461 AD. So that was several centuries ago. Today, there's 3 places in the world that I know of that St. Patrick's Day is an official holiday, like an official public holiday. Of course, Ireland, it's a national holiday. Also, the island of Montserrat in the Caribbean near St. Kitts and Nevis and the Grenadines is a small island. It's also a public holiday there. And in the province of Newfoundland, Labrador in Canada, it's a public provincial holiday there for them. Because, you know, St. Patrick's Day now is, you know, people have, you know, I've heard people say, oh, why should everybody be celebrating it? It's Ireland's national holiday. Well, St. Patrick's Day originally started as it's a Christian observance, if you want to call it. For me personally, St. Patrick's Day became important as I got older, because St. Patrick's Day usually fall in Lent. During this, it's one of the big feast days in the season of Lent. During Lent, because you're more observant of some of the rituals where, you know, you're fasting, you're giving alms, so you're more restrained, and so feast days allows for not observing that, you know, any feast days that happen during Lent, you can take that day off and not observe Lent. So for example, if you were fasting during Lent, this St. Patrick's Day, you would go ahead and, you know, eat and, you know, and drink for the day. So that's how. But St. Patrick's Day, or the feast day of St. Patrick, that's how the church observe it. The church still observe it, and it's an important feast day in the Anglo-Catholic, the Anglican Church, the Episcopalian denominations. So those are the people who in terms of religious observations. So there will be like a mass for St. Patrick's Mass. Yes, so that's how St. Patrick's Day came to be. And so I believe that, you know, I chose to do this because I was having a conversation with somebody who felt that, you know, St. Patrick's Day should be limited to, you know, people of Ireland, and they don't understand why everybody is celebrating it. Yes, St. Patrick's Day as we know it now became popular and commercialized because it started in America. They had the parade. The first parade, I believe, was in New York in 1930 something. And then, of course, the merchants got involved, as in all things, and it's now an international holiday or an international celebration. But originally, it was the feast day of St. Patrick in the church. So, and it's still observed, you know, in the Church of England, in the Church of Ireland, in the Roman Catholic churches as well. So, what I would like to, because there's so many legends and stories around St. Patrick, this whole idea of the clover representing the Trinity, also St. Patrick, there's so many legends and stories about him, but yes, the one thing that everybody acknowledges is he's the first known person to take Christianity to the Celts, so to the people of Ireland. So he introduced Christianity to the Druids and the Celts of Ireland. So what I like about St. Patrick is there's a prayer that's actually hymns. There's several versions of it, and some people call some of the hymns, or the actual prayer, it says, I bind myself, I rise today. I found another version recently that I really like, that I thought I'd like to share and to end this. And so this is the St. Patrick's breastplate prayer, or St. Patrick's I rise today through a mighty strength, the invocation of the Trinity, through the belief in the threeness, through confession of the oneness of the Creator of creation. I rise today through the strength of Christ's birth with his baptism, through the strength of his crucifixion with his burial, through the strength of his resurrection with his ascension, through the strength of his descent for the judgment of doom. I rise today through the strength of the love of cherubim, in obedience of angels, in the service of archangels, in hope of resurrection to meet reward, in prayers of patriarchs, in predictions of prophets, in preaching of apostles, in faith of confessors, in innocence of holy virgins, in deeds of righteous men. I rise today through the strength of heaven, light of sun, radiance of moon, splendor of fire, speed of lightning, swiftness of wind, depth of sea, stability of earth, firmness of rock. I rise today through God's strength to pilot me, God's might to uphold me, God's wisdom to guide me, God's eye to look before me, God's ear to hear me, God's word to speak for me, God's hand to guide me, God's way to lie before me, God's shield to protect me, God's host to save me from snares of devils, from temptations of vices, from everyone who shall wish me ill, afar and near, alone and in multitude. I summon today all these powers between me and those evils, against every cruel, merciless power that may oppose my body and soul, against incantations of false prophets, against black laws of pagandom, against false laws of heretics, against craft of idolatry, against spells of witches and smiths and wizards, against every knowledge that corrupts man's body and soul. Christ to shield me today, against poison, against burning, against drowning, against wounding, so that there may come to me abundance of reward. Christ with me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, Christ on my right, Christ on my left, Christ when I lie down, Christ when I sit down, Christ when I rise, Christ in the heart of every man who thinks of me, Christ in the mouth of everyone who speaks of me, Christ in the eye that sees, in every eye that sees me, Christ in every ear that hears me. I rise today through a mighty strength of the invocation of the Trinity, through the belief in the threeness, through the confession of the oneness of the Creator of creation. I love this part, or the more well-known part of this whole prayer is the 7. Christ with me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ in me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, Christ on my right, Christ on my left, Christ when I lie down, Christ when I sit down, Christ when I rise, Christ in the heart of every man who thinks of me, Christ in the mouth of everyone who speaks of me, Christ in every eye that sees me, Christ in every ear that hears me. Well, that is the basics of St. Patrick's Day, or St. Patrick, the legend and the story and or the folklore that of the priest and the bishop that was St. Patrick. Because St. Patrick, when he went back to Ireland, he was ordained, and he was authorized by the church to also to baptize people and ordain people as well. So, and he became the bishop of Ireland until his death. So, I mean, there's all sorts of stories and about, but he's you know, some of the stories are based on his own writings, and of course, you know, we take people old writings and extrapolate from them what we wish to show, or the points that we wish to make. So anyway, my point is St. Patrick's Day is for everyone, and it's, you know, especially now that it's become a secular day of celebration, it's open to everyone. And for other people that celebrate it, or people who observe it, it's for religious reasons. So if you belong to the faith that observes St. Patrick's Day, then you allow it. Doesn't matter whether you're Irish or not. But St. Patrick's feast day, the feast day of St. Patrick, does not solely belong to the people of Ireland or people of Irish descent. So that's my belief, and that's what I know for sure. So anyway, this is my rant for this week. Thank you so much for watching, and by the way, happy and a blessed St. Patrick's Day to you all. Thank you again. Goodbye for now.